Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, Chapter 173. When we last left our heroes, we sort of continue to learn a little bit more about the new world post-time skip. Specifically, Connor is now a kind of temporary member of the crew and has told everyone the robot factory where he worked for Ziggy is on the planet Lendard, this kind of living factory planet, which is kind of weird why they would need humans there, but maybe we shouldn't think too hard about it, or maybe it is a trap or something, I don't know. Anyway, Connor is sort of kind of ingratiating himself to the crew in the same way he did back in Universe 1. Speaking of, though, we learn a little bit about universes. Specifically, a new sort of nomenclature dividing worlds and universes. Worlds are sort of what happens every time Rebecca does any kind of minor leap, the kind of basic reverse technique. And universes are the bigger things that require Cat Leaper. Universe 1 ended after Shiki's death, and Rebecca went back in time to give everyone the info they would need to beat Draken. Universe 2, we learn, happened at some point in Universe 2. The entire crew was wiped out in the antimatter bombs, supposedly. Rebecca, however, is unclear when exactly that would have happened. She has no memory of causing that. But according to Noah, we are distinctly in Universe 3. Anyway, the gang then tells Elsie what they've learned about Lendard. And Elsie says she's going to go deal with that. And then also, that won't just be a factory, but Ziggy himself will be there, which we do learn is the truth. And that Ziggy and his 4 Dark Stars, he's rebuilt Brigandine and Killer, I think was the other one that died. He's rebuilt them, so they're now Mark II. They're on Lendard waiting for Shiki to arrive, who supposedly is not coming. Supposedly it's Elsie that's coming, but I imagine we'll understand more about that going forward. For now, let's dive right on into Chapter 173, Feather Alighting. Our cover picture here is Homura in a very particular pose, leaning over like Daruma doll. It's a choice, I'll leave it at that. Anyway, we open on a exterior shot of the Eden Zero in the Kaide Cosmos, and Herman's sort of giving some exposition with this map showing that it actually won't just be Elsie going to Lendard, they're going to Lendard too. As Herman explains, the planet Lendard. We believe this is where we'll find Ziggy. We will join with Elsie's fleet to launch an attack. We have never faced enemy forces so large. I think this is going to be an intense battle. And we see Homura and Rebecca and Shiki and Wise and Clean and Jean all sort of listening in on this, sort of, getting the information they need from this briefing. Interestingly enough, Laguna is not there, though, which I'm not sure why he's not, especially when we get this sort of wider shot, and he's still not there. But Connor comes in. Avast there, buckos! I told ye, I be recently escaped from the planet Lendard. I've no mind to be going back to that accursed place. Dead serious I be. As captain, I order ye, turn this ship, and sister who is there, though we haven't seen her before now, stops him. You're not our captain. And Wise just looks at him. You're still here, old man? Just leave. No one's stopping you. And Clean tells him, the Starfighters. You could have taken one. And Connor's just shocked. Heartless fiends, the lot of ye. All of Kaide Cosmos already be under Ziggy's control. And I be a fugitive. I could never shake off Ziggy's pursuers in a puny little starfighter. And then he turns to Pino and makes those like raspberry noises with his mouth that Pino returns in kind. But there is an interesting bit there, in that I was not really under the impression that Ziggy had control of the entire Kaide Cosmos. It had seemed at the time that like they were liberating individual planets as they were captured by Ziggy. But now Connor is saying actually the entire cosmos have been taken over by him. I don't know, there's something fishy there, or maybe I'm overthinking things. There's a part of me curious if Connor is some kind of trap set for the gang. Because remember, even in Universe 1, he still was the captain of the Edens 1, right? In both prior universes, he may have lost the ship in Universe 1, but he was still captain of the Edens 1. And Rebecca never learned that. Maybe he is still sort of, he pretends to have run away from Ziggy, but maybe he's still working for him in some capacity. Anyway, Laguna, who actually is there, though he's just not in any of the wider shots for some reason, asked Connor, I heard you were floating through space without any ship at all. And Connor tells him, that were only a bit of good fortune. And we see he's clearly getting angry. He almost doesn't, to counter my earlier trap theory, he seems to be desperate for them to not go to Lendard. In any case, I won't stop you from doing what you're thinking of doing. But you won't be getting me anywhere near Lendard. And Rebecca turns to Shiki. What do we do, Shiki? I guess we'll just have to drop him off on some planet somewhere. And Connor tells him, outside this cosmos, if you please, as pleasant and safe a planet as you can find. And Homer mocks him. What a demanding gentleman. Oops. And then Pino tells the group, if we're going to another cosmos, we'll need fast travel. And Happy sort of turns to Pino, so we'll have to waste the ship's energy to give the old man what he wants? And Hermit tells them, well, we have an ether drive, so the energy will regenerate in time. And Sister tells them all, but it is still a waste. Then we come to the Sakura Cosmos, specifically to Blue Garden, which I guess is as close to a peaceful planet as they can find. But yeah, we're now back on Blue Garden to drop Connor off. Rebecca looks around. Wow, this takes me back. Yeah, I guess I haven't really been here since right after the fight with Draken. And Happy jumps around. Then just some townspeople all kind of see Rebecca now that she's a celebrity. Hey, I think it's Rebecca. For real? Like in person? And a whole bunch of fans sort of chase after her. Can I have your autograph? Becky, I watch all your videos. And Rebecca just runs. And Wise looks around. Yeah, we haven't even been in this cosmos in ages. Wait a minute. Wise sort of thinks to himself, Sakura Cosmos. That means... And he has images of Zhao Mei. Is Zhao Mei really the first person he would think about in the Sakura Cosmos? He's from here. It's sort of a weird bit. Oh, okay. The idea is, Wise just responds, Zhao Mei! Couldn't we have saved a lot of time by asking her where Ziggy is? And Shiki suddenly realizes that too. But Hermit comes on. I guess they have some kind of maybe Shiki's ocular implant gives him, projector screen powers. Because Hermit, video calls them from mid-air in the city. It's sort of weird, I think. But anyway, Hermit tells them, nope, we're lucky that Mildian was in the Sakura Cosmos when it was. And Shiki and Wise are both shocked by that. Huh? And Hermit tells them, that planet moves around erratically. It could be in the Aoi Cosmos or anywhere now. All we know is that it's in some location where we can't find it. So maybe that means that Zhao Mei really had, physically traveled to the Aoi Cosmos whenever she was, narrating shit for the war. Anyway, we then see Connor just sort of trying to appear imposing, I think, and says, 'tis a good planet, this. I can live a safe, peaceful life here. And Laguna comes over to Connor. So, something's been bothering me. Why were you working on Ziggy's planet? And Connor turns to him, told you I did. I didn't know the planet were Ziggy's. And Laguna presses, no. I'm asking what a human was doing on a planet that built robots automatically in the first place. So now we're getting to the questions I've been asking. Because yeah, the fact that Lendard is an automatically producing factory is really weird, given what we've been told about Connor. But Connor tries to protest. I am starting to think there's some kind of trap here. There are a few jobs that only a human can do. And Laguna keeps pressing, but you're a ship's captain. And we see Connor turns to take his gloves off, which as I recall is where the Eden's 1 tattoo was back in Universe 1. Aye, formerly. I were a captain in the Aoi Cosmos Freedom Force. Oh, okay. Alright. And we see where the Eden's 1 tattoo was in Universe 1, we see a Freedom Force tattoo. And Laguna's shocked, you were fighting the Empire? As you know, the Freedom Force were defeated by Nero and his armies. Okay, so this seems to be a pre-Oasis kind of rebel army. But I abandoned me ship before it were sunk. I can't help wondering. If I had stayed with the Force, maybe. But I'd be flattering myself to think I'd have made a difference. And Laguna, who has been through a very similar set of circumstances, kind of feels that pain. Though am kind of curious how much of this is a trap. Because again, Ziggy would know. Ziggy would know that Laguna is part of the crew, and this might be a good, way to ingratiate Connor with Laguna, possibly? I don't know. I'm still suspicious about Connor, but we'll see. Anyway, Connor turns to look at Homura, Rebecca, and Clean. Probably about to think something really horny, I'm guessing. Clean sort of laughs. That crowd, you're so popular. And Rebecca sort of shakes her head to kind of deny it. It would have been worse if Couchpo were here with us. And Homura laughs. She is too busy obsessing over the food in our kitchen. And Connor just watches them. I had a daughter. If she were alive, she'd be right around the age of those lasses there. Okay. Is he being honest? I'm still just super, super skeptical of this guy, okay? Anyway, Shiki actually asks, if she were alive? She left me soon after she were born. That be what inspired me to leave me ship. She left him? What does that mean there? Because, a baby can't really actively leave you. Or maybe she died or something? Maybe she was killed by a vampire? Anyway, Shiki, grabs onto Connor's shoulder, and Connor turns around to find Shiki just bawling at the story. I'll be your new daughter! And Connor's just shocked. Huh? No, I weren't. What? And she goes to hug him. Think of me as your daughter, Dad. No, thank you. And Pino responds, it must be hard that she passed away so soon after she was born. And Connor then says, no, she don't be dead, I reckon. Oh, but he earlier said if she were alive, which is a weird phrase. She left me, meaning me wife took her and left home. Okay, so just like a bad divorce. Shiki snaps, don't be so confusing. And Laguna sighs, good grief. That's why I be traveling from cosmos to cosmos, looking for me wife and daughter. Now here I be. That doesn't quite explain how you ended up working on Lendard for so long. Anyway, we then cut to the Adventurers Guild shooting Starlight for the first time in a very long time. And we see Clarice. Wow, I missed you, Rebecca. Happy. And Rebecca is sort of almost exasperated with her. Clarice, did you listen to anything I said? And Happy tells her, we found this guy. And Connor stops him right there. Captain. We found this captain, and we need you to take him in. And Clarice looks over at him. Well, we can do that, but... and Connor gets mad at Happy, treating a man like a stray kitten, scurvy cat. And then Noah comes down, who, as I recall, was not one to really come down to the main lobby, back when we last regularly visited Shooting Starlight, years and years ago at this point. And tells them, it's good to finally see you all again. Master Noah! And Rebecca sort of presses, I talked to you just the other day. And Shiki just snaps, you! Oh dear, Shiki, are you still angry with me because of that one incident? Is that the Aliga incident? Is that what he's going back to, the Gilstark? And my, how you've grown. Though also, it's interesting though, in that future Rebecca saw, back when she was fighting Lyria, right? I think was her name, the card girl. Shiki and Noah were close allies in that future. And that future seemed to have gone away, maybe once Rebecca won the card game or something. But I can't help feeling like something about that future is going to end up being important. And now that we're seeing Shiki and Noah together for the first time in a long time, I think it maybe bears thinking about. Anyway, darn right I'm still angry. You put Rebecca in danger. And then Noah responds, well, we are technically members of opposing organizations, so your antagonism is fair. And we're reminded that Shiki is a member of the Galactica, and Noah is the director of the Interstellar Union Army's intelligence agency. So they are that's actually a really interesting point, because, or interesting thing to think about, because he's still so close with Rebecca. But Rebecca is they don't really have the term first mate, but she's kind of the first mate of, Noah's boss's chief adversaries. It's an interesting dynamic they've got going. Anyway, Pino just sort of interrupts them. Anyway, we brought you Mr. Connor. And then they sort of leave Connor here, and Rebecca and Clean and Shiki all start talking. Rebecca says, so now it's finally time to attack Lendard. And then Shiki responds, but first we have to get ready. And Noah, I guess this is the first time he's hearing about this. Lendard? That's an awfully far planet. And then we see Connor, who's walked up to, like, Levy McGarden. Call me Captain, if you please. And the Levy lookalike is sort of shocked at this random old man coming up to her. And then we see some, I think it's Noah's ether gear activating. And then Shiki and Wise both get a call. Wise tells Shiki it's from Hermit. And Hermit calls in, we have a problem. The Interstellar Union Army knows we came to this planet. Oh, that's a bad sign. Now they're wanted criminals. And Jean reacts, what? And Shiki snaps at Noah. You ratted us out? But Noah tells him, no. It's Feather from Horacio and Says Interstellar. She has the same power I do. That's an that makes sense of the title. Feathering a Light, right, was what it was called, I think. Let me go back to page 1. Feather a Lighting is what it was. Feather is now here. I should have called that out when I first started reading the chapter, but I didn't think to. But the fact that she has the same ether gear as Noah is kind of interesting to me, I think. Because the only time we've really seen that before is all the various gravity users that all kind of stem from Xenolith down to Ziggy, and then Ziggy trains Shiki and Shora. There's a straight line leading to all the Satan gravity users. And so is there something similar with Feather and Noah? Did, Noah train under Feather, or they shared a master or something? I don't know. Also, if Feather can track them at all times, why haven't they been caught? Why haven't, all the Galactica been caught already? Is what I'm wondering. Anyway, Pino responds to that. The Eye of God, an ether gear that allows its user to observe people's locations. And Wise makes the exact same gag he did earlier with Mildian. Wait a minute. Couldn't we have used that to find exactly where Ziggy is? And Shiki just reacts, but Noah stops them. No. You cannot find mechanical life forms. But we see, though, from on the ship, we see this sort of chart that Herman has set up. The Eden Zero is surrounded by a good chunk of the army. And Hermit tells them, the Eden Zero is surrounded. We can't move. Moscow's, praying. Mos. And Sister's just, raring to go. Well, we could blow them all away with the main cannon. But what are your orders? And Shiki tells her, no, they're not our enemy. Don't shoot them. Well, I mean, they kind of are. They're trying to kill you. You should at least try to defend yourself. I mean, I get that Eden Zero is not kind of going the One Piece route of, the government or the real villains. They're just sort of misguided at times, to put it mildly here. But also, at a certain point, you have to fight back. I mean, I know, though, to be fair, the entire point of the Aoi War arc was sort of emphasize the tragedy of the deaths of background characters. But that was a big theme in that arc. So yeah, it is very fair that Shiki would be opposed to just starting a fight. Anyway, Shiki calls, or this might be Homura actually, because it feels like a Shiki line, but it's the speech bubble is put over Homura. We shall return immediately. Withstand their attack until then. And then I think this is Hermit telling them they probably sent an army to the guild too. Be careful. And yeah, we see a collection of IUA soldiers surrounding the guild. And we see this guy, two sort of maybe sub-commanders under Feather, I'm guessing. I think each of them has one angel wing or something. There's one guy who's sort of leaner, has got his whole chest showing. There's another guy with an afro. Chest guy, our target is Shiki Granbell of the Horacio Saves Galactica. An afro calls out, listen up, there are a lot of civilians here. Whatever you do, don't hurt them. And then the first one tells Feather, Commander Feather, all units are in place. And Feather, we see her using her Eye of God, looks up. They will emerge from the building soon. When you see them, shoot. Okay. Though my other question though is we saw at the prayer council in the aftermath of the Aoi War that they don't, that Elsie, with Elsie in particular, is a member of the Galactica, but they don't really care about her because she's not genuinely a threat. And Shiki also isn't, or Elsie is a threat, but she's not really doing anything. Not doing anything bad. And the same can be said for Shiki. So I'm curious why they decide to go after Shiki. And also why they waited till he was on Blue Garden and not like on some random planet. I don't know. There's some questions going on here. Anyway, when you see them, shoot. And I guess the guild has kind of started to realize there are troops outside. They're like murmuring amongst all the guild members. And Shiki looks around. Dang it. They're after me, aren't they? If I knew this was going to happen, I would have protested when they gave me that weird new title. So we see Shiki's not entirely on board with being a Galactica at all. But Wise teases who went on about how it boosted his cred, and Jean stops him. That was you, Wise. That's a good gag there, I'll say. Anyway, Shiki then says, anyway, I'll lure them away. You guys get to the ship while they're distracted. I'll be right behind you. But Rebecca stops him. No, we're a crew. We go back to the ship together. And everyone on the ground, from Wise to Homura to Pino and Happy to Laguna, Jean, Clean, and then Shiki, all sort of acknowledge that mission. And Shiki just smiles. Okay, we'll make a run for the ship. But they're not our enemy. Don't kill anyone. And Feather just sort of watches them with her eye of God. I see it. I see you all emerging together. That's where we leave off. So, this is not really where I expected this to be going. I expected this to be getting onto Lendard pretty soon. I expected that to be kind of the next big storyline. But instead, Feather is here just to kind of cause trouble. Like, I'm not quite sure where we're going with this fight with Feather, because I don't really see... I mean, given how easily Jaguar was just how nonchalantly Jaguar was taken out back during the war... maybe Feather won't actually be that big of a character. But I don't know. It's sort of... Like, though to be fair, I can't really see Feather dying here, given Shiki does not want to kill anyone. But my point being, and if, the outcome I see of this is the gang gets away, and then Feather, chases after them. And my question then is, what's the point of this story? Because it's sort of the exact position they were already in. Unless maybe Feather follows them to Lendard, possibly? I don't know. I guess it's a possibility. And that therefore sort of creating this sort of three-way conflict once again, now over Lendard instead of Aoi 66. But still allowing all the sorts of complicated dynamics we saw during the war. Maybe. I don't know. That's still just kind of a possibility. Though we also might have a handful of typical shonen battles with these kind of lieutenant guys. We see, they seem primed for the kind of people. Oh, sorry, that's my medicine alarm. The kind of people that Laguna or the Rutherfords or even maybe Wise might fight while giving the big bads to Shiki and Rebecca. So maybe we'll get a quick little fight with them, or we'll just be running through town avoiding the army. As they make it back to the ship. I will say, I do love this panel here of the whole gang getting ready to, make a break for the ship. It's just a cool panel, seeing how far the crew has come. They're all just fucking cool. We're here for it. But yeah, anyway, this chapter is largely sort of creating this new conflict. This new sort of skirmish I'm predicting with Feather. I don't think it'll really turn into a full-on battle. But I do see a kind of skirmishy thing. We also get a little bit of Connor 3's backstory. He was with the Freedom Force, a sort of proto-Oasis. And the Freedom Force fell, giving rise to Oasis. And we'll see, A, how much of that is genuine. B, if its genuineness counteracts if he is, if it could be genuine and he's still working for Ziggy, possibly... given that Ziggy was the one who killed Nero, I could see how that might put Connor to be grateful for him, potentially, if he is a spy, which, again, I kind of think he might be, but I don't have a lot of evidence for that. But anyway, there's some interesting stuff with Connor. I'm skeptical that Connor will be left behind, actually. you know, Connor's a character who keeps getting brought up and then vanishing. Like, over and over again. He gets brought up and then he vanishes. He's brought up again, he vanishes. He's brought up, you know, this is like the third time now he's been brought up. Or he's reappeared, and then, you know, he's there for like 2 or 3 chapters, and then he's gone again. If he is gone here for real. So again, we'll see what's going on with Connor. Connor as a character is just so weird to me. I don't know. But anyway, Feather's here. It's time to make a break for it. Don't kill anyone. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing how all that plays out next week. But for now, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!